Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Magistrate, Chief of Department. Along with me is Chief Shell, Chief of Patrol, Chief Kemper, Chief of Transit, and Chief Gurley, the Executive Officer of the Chief of Department's office. Earlier this evening, the department became aware of a protest that was going to take place in the vicinity of Houston and Broadway in regards to the senseless death of Jordan Neely that occurred in the transit facility at Broadway and Lafayette. The officers responded to the location. There was approximately 150 protesters out there. And I want to make it clear, we respect people's right to protest. We respect their First Amendment rights. But we will not tolerate people breaking the law. More importantly, we will not tolerate people bringing weapons and dangerous substances to peaceful protest. As the protest started, there were different violations of the law. Officers addressed the violations of the law. We made about 11 arrests, and as we started to move the crowd, we found a Molotov cocktail that was in the crowd, on the ground. Chief Kemper has a picture of this. And again, I have to emphasize, we understand why people want to elevate their voices and protest, and we support that. People have a right to speak up when they believe an injustice occurs. But we cannot have people who are coming out to protest, and what we want to be a peaceful protest, bringing out dangerous substances like this. As you see, it's a glass bottle. There's a liquid in there. We don't know what the liquid is as of yet. It has not been tested. You can see the ripped up rag down there that will facilitate the flame. This is something that's dangerous. It could hurt members of the department. It could hurt other protesters. It could hurt innocent people who are passing by. Once we established calm at the scene and we took away the people who were violating the law, we had a peaceful protest. People marched from the vicinity of Houston and Broadway all the way down here to the 7th Precinct with no problems. The officers were here, we escorted them, we allowed them to speak up, we allowed them to elevate their voices, and then they left when they were ready. We will respect people's right to protest, but we cannot have people bringing weapons. Thank you.
Chief, you are saying that you allow people to express, but we were there, and the first thing the police says is you cannot use the mic. And when they see that they use the mic again, all the press started. Why they say that they were not allowed to use the mic?
Well, again, as I said, we have to follow the rules. So
what rule they were breaking?
you have to have a sound permit when you're using amplified sound anywhere in this city.
Hey, Moses. A photojournalist was arrested. Could you talk a little bit about that and why you
John, you want to answer that? I don't know.
So just back to the sound permit. We gave numerous warnings to not to use that device. Numerous warnings. And if you were there, you saw that, so you'll report that. As far as the reporter interfered in at least 2 arrests in the middle of the street when it got very physical. The 3rd arrest, she interfered a 3rd time, so she was placed under arrest.
Could you get into some of the violations and charges if they're not still pending?
Absolutely. I'll let Chief Shell answer that. Chief Shell has a little bit more firsthand knowledge than I have, but I was informed by my chiefs as well as my officers that every violation that occurred, there were numerous, orders to, refrain from that conduct, to stop that conduct. It wasn't like we saw somebody doing something and we immediately went for an arrest. There were numerous attempts to tell them to stop the behavior.
So as we talked about the sound reproduction device, and for those of us out there, you saw the rad, you saw the bullhorn, we were given multiple warnings. Number 2, being in the street. You cannot be in the street obstructing traffic. If you were there, you saw the numerous warnings. Not only not allowed to be in the street, it is a danger factor. The traffic was open. So of the 11 arrests, 2 of those 11, two protesters assaulted themselves. I don't know if you saw that. And the rest were obstructing government administration and disorderly conduct. So that's your 11. In addition to the 11, we locked up 2 additional for being on the subway tracks on Sunday, which is a felony. So our transit detective squad is still following up on that incident on Sunday. And 2 other people arrested were from the train tracks on Sunday.
Attorney Moses, final question.
Could you go into a little bit more depth how you recovered the Molotov, and is this protester known to be carrying this kind of stuff to other protests?
We do not have a protester attached to the Molotov cocktail. The Molotov cocktail was in a group of protesters when we were able to move them along and they started marching. The Molotov cocktail was observed in the middle of the group. So we do not have an arrest attached to the Molotov cocktail. We will take it down to our lab for an analysis, but the Molotov cocktail was there on the scene in a crowd of protesters. Again, something very dangerous that we're just really asking our communities, our people who want to come out and elevate their voices, not to engage in that kind of behavior. They can hurt themselves, they can hurt members of this department, they can hurt their co-protesters or innocent people. And it's going to really defeat the purpose of the protest.
Thank you, Chief.